Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this second session from your local Air Force career counselors. Today, we're going to be talking about the Air Force Premier Living Facilities. We're going to talk about quite a bit today, and I'm going to definitely still minimize it to 30 minutes or less. But just want to give you some information about what the Air Force offers in the Department of Living Facilities and dorm life and living on base. Okay, so the first thing we're going to watch is a video that talks about life on base, and we will discuss some things after we watch that.
One of the great things about being a part of the Air Force is they take care of all their airmen.
There's a wide variety of things that are offered just on base that airmen, once they become part of the Air Force, that they can tap into. There's a health and wellness center. All the services are free. It's set up like a typical commercial gym. It's nothing out of your pocket.
Once you join the Air Force, you have all these sports you can still play. The camaraderie, these guys that I play out here with playing soccer is the same guys that I'm going to be going out and getting deployed with as well.
A commissary is a grocery store on base. You get everything you could get at any local grocery store. The fruits and vegetables are very fresh, organic groceries, so I'm a big fan of that.
Base Exchange, we are your department store, your electronics store, your clothing store. All your shopping needs you can accomplish at your local exchange on base.
This is the school-age program.
We offer before and after school care to children ages 5 to 12 years old, kindergarten through 6th grade. We give the parents peace of mind so that they can go and do their job and do their job well.
In the Air Force, our facilities have family health care, pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, physical therapy, mental health, and they get the care they need at no cost.
We rent out ski boats, pontoon boats.
Bikes to kayaks to fishing. Anything you want to do outdoor-wise, we've got it.
You have these services offered worldwide.
Wherever we deploy people, we have the facility there to take care of them.
Can you believe I'm on an Air Force base?
All right. So I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint presentation. So hopefully everybody can see this PowerPoint. Just a basic PowerPoint. The important information in what we're going to discuss is far more elaborate and colorful than this PowerPoint, but just wanted to give something out so we have something for you to follow along with. So as we discussed, and as you saw in that video, the Air Force's main priority with their airmen is to make sure that we're living a comfortable life. And with that comes proper facilities, resources, extracurricular activities, and basic necessities that we need to be successful. The last thing we want our airmen to have to worry about is their living conditions or very personal things like eating and just their well-being. We want to make sure their physiological needs are met so that way they can perform the mission as effective as possible. So I'm going to present to you just some information that you may want to know and you can share with your family members, friends, children, anybody who may be interested or may be curious about what the Air Force has to offer. So we're going to talk about housing. We're going to talk about the food. We're going to talk about life on base and what all that means. Okay, so housing. So there is multiple housing options for an individual who joins the Air Force. When a person first joins the Air Force, if they are single, they're going to be in what we call the dorms. The dorms are similar to apartment complexes. And if you notice on the flyer that was sent out advertising this session, there was multiple different dorm examples, which we will go over as well a little later. The thing about that to remember is the dorms is just simply a way and a place for airmen to develop. Okay, so airmen are coming into the Air Force, and at first they may have a lot going on, whether that be personal responsibilities. They definitely will be charged with learning their career and additional training that they have to do. So the dorms is a way for them to have a stable living condition that we know is going to provide all the basic needs plus more that they may need. Now, individual stays in the dorms a specific amount of time, and that amount of time depends on the base they're going to, the career they're in, how much space is in the dorms, their rank. So there's a lot of factors. On average, a person is living in the dorms 1 or 2 years. potentially more, depending on their situation. Now, individuals in the dorms are given exactly what a person in an apartment complex will get: a room, a living room, a kitchen, the basic appliances, a TV. They have access to laundry facilities. They have access to common areas, whether that be courtyards, or whether that be game rooms, or whether that be TV rooms, or even just a barbecue section or a smoke pit for them to use. These are all basic things that are added to dorms. Now, certain bases have more elaborate and illustrious dorms than others, but the Air Force as a whole is working on renovating all dorms to make sure that we're all up to par and they're all very illustrious. Now, once a person is able to get out of the dorms, they have the option to rent, to buy, and they have that option to stay on base or move off base. So let's talk about on base. So renting on base. Each base has base housing, and base housing comprises of single family homes usually. And these homes are 2 bedroom, 3 bath, sometimes 3 bedroom, 3 bath, various different layouts. However, you can definitely rent a home on base, and what that would that require you to do is, if you know you're moving out of the dorms, you would contact the housing office on base, and your job is to make sure that you explain your goals. If there's a waiting list for renting homes, and they'll put you on that waiting list. They'll make sure you qualify, just like anybody who's renting a home. And then from there, you're able to rent a home on base. The benefits of renting on base is you're close to your career. Your job location is not that far. You have the safety of being on base. If you did not know, base is guarded 24/7, entry and exit points. So you have that security factor. You also have the convenience of the grocery store, the BX or the mall, and any other convenient or extracurricular activities that are on base at your fingertips. So there's definitely pros for living on base. If you have children, we have schools on base. If you're in college yourself, we also have colleges on base that the Air Force partners with. So there's definitely benefits to renting on base. Now, renting on base, the price range is similar to what the price range would be off base. You may be able to find more bang for your buck just based on all the amenities that come with living on base. Now, you also have the option to move off base. So off base living is definitely an option. And how you set this up is dependent upon your location, your needs. So if you're looking for an apartment, if you're looking for a home, if you're looking for a condo, a loft, a studio apartment, you name it, that will be on you to do some research in that local area. If you needed to contact a realtor, you can, to help you find a living situation. Now, this living situation obviously should be hammered out and planned prior to you moving off base. And that's one of the reasons being on base in the dorms is important, because your supervisor, your leadership is making sure that you have a plan in place prior to being moving off base or on base. Okay, so off base living, depending on where you are at, the housing costs, renting costs, cost of living in general may be higher or lower. That's determined by what we call BAH. So BAH is your basic allowance for your housing. This rate is based on your zip code area. So the Air Force has a formula they use to figure out what's the cost of living for that area. And based on your zip code, you're going to get paid that amount to help offset the costs of living off base. Now, when you think about living off base, we already talked about on base. You have all of these accommodations. You have all of these conveniences. You even have the convenience of not having to drive that far to go to work potentially. Well, the Air Force understands that, so the BAH is a way to offset those costs, and typically they're going to cover your entire, housing costs, whether that be rent, whether you're sharing with someone else, whether you're renting one room from a property. Those that BAH will cover that. Now, the benefit of BAH is if you don't use all of it, the rest of it you pocket. Which is a good thing. So you can make some extra money too using your BAH. So housing in a nutshell by the Air Force is covered in various different means. If you're single, you're going to be living in the dorms. If you're married, if you have dependents, then you won't be living in the dorms. You'll automatically go to being able to rent on base or live off base. But if you're single and you live in the dorms, you have to wait your time length in order to be able to live off base or rent on base. Okay. So now we're talking about food. So food is similar to the housing allowance. So we all get a food allowance. Now this food allowance is standard across the board. Okay. And this amount of money, which is about $360, you will get monthly to help offset the cost of food. So airmen living in the dorms, they don't receive BAS because they already receive free meals on base from several locations. One of the main locations they receive free meals from is the DFAC, or dining facility. This is a cafeteria style establishment. They serve meals, usually breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some of them are open for snack periods between lunch and dinner and breakfast. So that option depends on your base as far as if they're open their hours of operation. The fact is, there is going to be a dining facility, and that dining facility is going to serve various meals. Anywhere from spaghetti, fish, steak, pizza. It depends on what you're going to taste for tacos. Various different things are on the menu. Now, you also have the option, depending on your base, to eat at other base locations, such as the bowling alley, such as the golf course, such as any enlisted clubs that you may have. Certain places on certain bases allow you to eat free with your meal card, which is typically your ID, and it shows that you're on base. Now, these options are great options, and these are options that whether you live on base or off base, you can still utilize. The only difference is if you live on base in the dorms, you're going to be on a meal card where those meals are free. If you live off base, and let's say you're at work and you wanted to visit the dining facility, you would have to pay for your meal because at that point you will be receiving BAS. Now, you also have options to eat off base. So whether you're on a meal card or not, you are not forced to eat on base, meaning that if you have a few meals that you get on base, you can choose to utilize that option, or you can go off base and purchase whatever food you so desire. You will not be getting paid extra food allowance while you're in the dorms to obtain that food. So you will be spending from your own money. Now, typically, as a young airman, the money you're going to be getting, you're going to have a good amount to where you're not going to miss it that much if you eat out once or twice. However, it is encouraged for airmen to eat on base in efforts to save money and utilize that free benefit. So that's food in a nutshell. If you get BAS, it is totally up to you how you want to use that. If you want to use groceries, if you want to go out to eat, if you want to divide it a certain way, that's all dependent upon you and your family dynamic. Because some individuals who move off base are single, some have families, some love grocery shopping, some are opposed to it. So that is definitely your personal preference. And once again, like we discussed with the BAH, if you don't use all of your BAS, then you will pocket the remainder of that money. Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about is life on base. Okay, so life on base was kind of elaborated in the video we watched earlier. So understand that being on base is not about always working. Base is similar to a small city, whatever Air Force base you're at. We're going to have all the amenities and all the facilities that a small city would have. A bank, fire department, police department, grocery store, schools, colleges, housing, bowling alleys, golf courses, track and fields, gyms, all of the same amenities that a small city has and the same facilities they have, we have on base. So while you're living on base, yes, you are working, but you're also in a designated small city to where you're able to have all the same things you would need in the civilian world. So the benefit of living on base is that you're eligible for all of these great benefits at lower cost, because on base things are typically lower cost. So life on base is yes, partly we're doing a mission and we're working to fulfill the Air Force's mission, but ultimately we're maintaining the health and safety, also the well-being of all of our troops and their families. Throughout base, you will see various individuals, retired, active duty, married, single, family members, special guests, celebrities. It all depends on which base you're at and what kind of amenities specifically your base has and how popular it is. For example, a base that's in the middle of Let's say South Carolina may not be as popular as Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, which is about 3 hours from DC, and typically where all of our higher leadership lives. So, it all depends on where you're stationed at. Overall, the Air Force has great procedures and policies put in place to make sure that our airmen don't have to worry about these basic necessities and can focus on their job and enjoying their Air Force career. Okay, so I'm going to show you some pictures of the dorms, which you probably seen on the flyer. So you see right here, you see Edwards Air Force Base in California. As you can see, just like I mentioned, it's like an apartment, a style studio apartment. You have your kitchen area, your room, your living room, and things like that. If you can see in Minot, this is an example of the game room, of those common areas I was discussing. They have foosball tables, pool tables, arcade video games, and as you can see, the rooms go down and individuals be able to have their own room. Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, this is a little inside of a room, basic things, your bed, refrigerator, a dresser, drawers, bathroom, things like that. And then another example is Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada or Las Vegas. As you can see, basic necessities, bed, desk, bathroom. So the dorms vary based on where you go, but they're all going to have the basic necessities. Some dorms are going to have more amenities than others. Some dorms are going to be structured a little differently, but the overall point is to make sure that airmen have these basic needs and living facilities that they can thrive in. So I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, you can add them in the chat box, or definitely reach out to our recruiting office at 317-250-8190. Or 317-954-2224. I'm Sergeant Kendrick, your local career counselor. I've been in this area since 2017. If you aren't familiar with me or seen me around, feel free to reach out and ask any questions you have. And if this information was helpful, please share it with other individuals so that way they have the same information and can make those better informed decisions. Until next time, thank you.